Hello everyone, welcome to Key to Theosophy book study number 25 as far as living Theosophy, the channel is concerned, but we are moving through. Look how far we've come. We've done all that. Look, we are on page, hang on, we are on page 90 and we are beginning with the septenary nature of man. Septenary, that's seven. So there are 7 principles of man. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to try my best to go ahead and do a little visual aid here because I'm trying to get these studies up so when you can study them, they're easier, and I don't digress like I do in the live ones. Sometimes I go off a little bit in the live ones, but these teachings are so important. They have changed my life, and I am simply a radio, television personality from days of yore, wanting to be of service and wanting to share these teachings with the world and keep them out there. So if you are here, it's not by accident. I'm glad that you're here. Give these teachings a listen. And then you discern, you apply, you become, you digest, you put them into practice and see how they work for you. Don't listen to me. It isn't about me. I'm a fellow student. Think of me as a companion, if you will. I'm doing the best that I can. So we will have a teleprompter, we'll have visual aids. The photography is done by my husband. Even the little, as you'll see over here, where you can subscribe, which I highly recommend that you do. And if you enjoy these teachings, please share these videos if you can, because everything helps. And if you wish to support this channel, there's a link down below where you can support. You can buy audiobooks that I have voiced. There is The Voice of the Silence, Light on the Path, and then the 14 Lessons, which is known as Yogi Philosophy, also known as Theosophy, on the Living Theosophy website. So if you buy those directly from the Living Theosophy website, that goes directly into keeping these teachings free. It pays for publishing. It pays for the shop that's there. You can download free texts. I will always include a link to the text down below. They will always be free. The ebooks will always be free. So there's a link to the Key to Theosophy down below. And then if you go to the Living Theosophy bookshop, you will see links to free ebooks there as well. It's a work in progress. I don't know how else to put it. We've been doing this for a while now, and it's growing and it's wonderful. So I'm so grateful for you. I am. And if you wish to support the channel, there's also a little section there that you're able to donate anything. It could be 5 pence. I don't care. Everything goes to keeping these teachings free so all of the world can have access. And that is where everything received here and on any of the Living Theosophy channels goes. So before we get started, I wanted to introduce this beautiful cup. This is a potter named Eddie Doughton makes these out of Glastonbury, United Kingdom. So that's where we live in the Southwest. Okay, actually further down than Glastonbury. Oh, hang on a sec. Let's go ahead and get started. So on page 90 in the actual book, let's begin. Enquirer, is it what we call spirit and soul and the man of flesh? Theosophist, it is not. That is the old Platonic division. Plato was an initiate, and therefore could not go into forbidden details, but he, who is acquainted with the archaic doctrine, finds the 7 in Plato's various combinations of soul and spirit. He regarded man as constituted of 2 parts, one eternal, formed of the same essence as the absoluteness, and the other mortal and corruptible, deriving its constituent parts from the minor created gods. Man is composed, he shows, of 1, a mortal body, and 2, an immortal principle, and 3, a separate mortal kind of soul. It is that which we respectively call the physical man, the spiritual soul or spirit, and the animal soul, the nous, or sometimes pronounced nous, the intelligence, and psyche, the breath of life, the vital force which animates the body, also known as soul, the immaterial part of man. That's where psyche and psychologist comes from, psychic. This is the division adopted by Paul, who's another initiate, who maintains that there is a psychical body, which is sown in the corruptible astral soul or body, and a spiritual body that is raised in incorruptible substance. Even James 3:15 corroborates the same by saying that the wisdom of our lower soul descendeth not from above, but is terrestrial, psychical, demonical. That's from Greek. Again, James 3:15 from the King James Version of the Bible. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish, while the other is heavenly wisdom. Now so plain is it that Plato and even Pythagoras, while speaking of three principles, give them 7 separate functions in their various combinations, that if we contrast our teachings, this will become quite plain. Let us take a cursory view of these 7 aspects by drawing 2 tables. First, we go to the Lower Quaternary, the lower 4 principles. First, they're divided in the Theosophical division, the Sanskrit terms, then the esoteric meaning, and then the explanation. So I'm going to put some stuff up here on the screen so you can follow along, and then in the blog, on the Living Theosophy blog, I'll make an actual table for us. Okay, so the Lower Quaternary is made up of 7 principles of man, going A through G. They are A, Rupa, or Stula Sharira, the physical body. This is the vehicle, this is you, your physical body, of all the other principles during life. B is Prana, which is the life or vital principle, necessary only to A, C, and D, which are the body, the astral body, and the desire body, along with the functions of the lower manas, or mind. Hold on, we're going to get into that in a second. Which embrace all those limited to the physical brain. Basically, prana is the life force for the earthly physical being. C, Linga Sharira. Linga meaning mark or sign or image. Sharira meaning body again. The etheric double, this is your astral body. Many of you will be familiar with that. It's the phantom body. That's number C, or letter C. D, we have Kamarupa. Kama meaning desire, K-A-M-A. It is the center of the animal man, where lies the line of demarcation which separates the mortal man from the immortal entity, the upper imperishable triad. Next we have E, Manas, a dual principle in its functions. It's mind, intelligence. There's the higher and the lower. The higher human mind, whose light or radiation links the monad. That's where we get mono. It's the one, the divine spark for the lifetime of the mortal man. There's higher mind and lower mind. The future state and the karmic destiny of man depend on whether manas gravitates more downward to Kamarupa, the seat of the animal passions, or upwards to buddhi, the spiritual ego. In the latter case, the higher consciousness of the individual spiritual aspirations of mind, manas, assimilating buddhi, are absorbed by it and form the ego, which goes into devashanic bliss. Now, devashan is it's like heaven. It's from devashan, meaning blissful realm or pure land. It's the continuation of the terrestrial life just left behind, idealized, a period of retributive adjustment and a reward for unmerited wrongs and sufferings that have been undergone in the past life. It's heaven, devashan. F is buddhi. Now that's where we get Buddha, which is actually not Buddha, like we say it, but anyway, you know what I'm meaning. Buddhi is the spiritual soul. Now this is the vehicle of the pure universal spirit. This is important. I remember when I was first studying this, and I'm digressing, I apologize, but I didn't understand how Atma needed a vehicle. But remember, buddhi is the vehicle. Buddhi is the vehicle. And the 7th one, Atma. This is G. Atma is spirit, one with the absolute. This is the ray of source, the eternal. This is it. Number 7 is Atma. The 7th principle is not human, but a universal principle in which man participates. But so does equally every physical and subjective atom, and also every blade of grass, and everything that lives or is in space, whether it is sensible of it or not. Now that's from the collected writings. I added that in there. So these 7 principles are the septenary nature of man. Let's go back to our text. Now, there is a note here, an asterisk, that says, and Mr. Sennett, who's Alfred Percy, in his esoteric Buddhism, D, E, and F, the desire body, the lower and higher mind, and spiritual soul, are respectively called the animal, the human, and the spiritual souls, which answers as well. Though the principles in esoteric Buddhism are numbered, this is strictly speaking useless. The dual monad alone, the Atma Buddhi, is susceptible of being thought of as the two highest numbers, the 6th and the 7th, as to all others. Now, since that principle only which is predominant in man has to be considered as the first and foremost, no numeration is possible as a general rule. In some men, it is the higher intelligence, or manas, the 5th, which dominates, and in the rest, the animal soul. We know many folks like this, the kamarupa that reigns supreme, exhibiting the most bestial instincts, etc. Now, what does Plato teach? He speaks of the interior man as constituted of two parts, one immutable and always the same, formed of the same substance as deity, and the other mortal and corruptible. These two parts are found in our upper triad and the lower quaternary. He explains that when the soul, psyche, the breath of life, the vital force which animates the body, soul, allies herself to the nous, the mind, the intelligence, divine spirit, or substance, she does everything all right and felicitously. But the case is otherwise when she attaches herself to anoia. Now, anoia is from ancient Greek, meaning extreme mental deficiency, mindlessness, basically, folly, or the irrational animal soul. Here, then, we have manas, or the soul in general, in its two aspects. When attaching itself to anoia, or kamarupa, or the animal soul in esoteric Buddhism, it runs towards entire annihilation as far as the personal ego is concerned. When allying itself to the nous, or Atma Buddhi, the higher mind, it merges into the immortal, imperishable ego, and then its spiritual consciousness of the personal that was becomes immortal. That's a lot. It's a lot to take in. I highly recommend getting the texts and studying for yourself. This is called the Key to Theosophy. This is a great way to begin to study these ancient texts. These were written down at the end. Some of them were. These were written down. The ones I'm talking to you about now were written down at the end of the 19th century. And I get a lot of comments about people arguing with me about that if they were written down 130 years ago, then they're not ancient. But these have been written down by scribes through the millennia. Hermes Trismegistus. You've got the three initiates. You've got those who have written all of the sacred texts before. They were written down as well. And in them are truths. Theosophy, but they've been kind of, they've been very corrupted. Not kind of, they've been corrupted by mankind. Theosophy is the root of all the world's religions, sciences, and philosophies. I say that often because it's absolutely the truth. So if you wish to study and you find out where science and spirituality meet, if you want to learn more, if you're here and you've listened this long, download the ebook, or you get it from somewhere else, find it online. It's the Key to Theosophy. These little book studies are just guides to help you. I study them often. I apply them in my life. I found my life has changed and improved. Life is still difficult. There will still be very painful things that happen, very difficult things, but you will understand much more, a bigger picture, and you will cope better. This is an instruction manual for life and death. It's true. If you want to learn the teachings that come back from the near-death experiences without having to die, I highly recommend you study these teachings. Thank you for being with me today, and I'll see you again on All Things Living Theosophy. Hang on. Make sure, if you can, to subscribe by hitting the little button in the corner, and then you can hit the bell if you want to be notified when these come up live and recorded. And I will do more work here on this channel. As long as I can speak, I will be sharing these teachings. So this channel is simply a labor of love. Thank you for being here. I love you.